Welcome back to the Azura Media Club, home of the Bad Girl Coven. I'm your coven leader, Emily, and today here we're talking about Train to Busan. Let's go. Alright, it sounds like Resident Evil, right? It sounds like we'd be talking about Resident Evil. If I was going to talk about Resident Evil, I'd talk about it on the other channel. Maybe I will do those at some point. But, yeah, Train to Busan, which is very Resident Evil-esque. You know, it's very typical survival horror stuff for a zombie kind of apocalypse movie. It's really at the beginning of an outbreak. And it's a Korean movie. So subtitled, of course. It was actually a really good series. It came out in 2016. It was a really good series later on Netflix. This is a few years ago. I think like maybe 2019 or 2020 or something. But it was like, we are all dead, or you are all dead, or something like that. All of us dead, or some shit like that. But it was also a Korean zombie thing. This is their thing. They do dramas, love stories, and zombies, I guess. Maybe that's racist to say. I'm sorry if it is, but that's what I know of Korean media there. So anyway, this is a zombie movie. Oh, and Squid Games or whatever, that was a thing. Very popular, yeah. What are we gonna get, a sequel, or a season 2 of that? So anyway, yeah, it's kind of at the beginning of a zombie outbreak. There's his dad and his daughter. His dad's kind of like the businessy type, and he's all involved in his business and stuff, and he never has time to spend with his daughter, and she wants to go on a trip to Busan for her birthday to see her mom, who lives there, and apparently they're in a rocky sort of relationship, the dad and the mom there. But, he agrees, and so they go on this train, and of course, as you can guess, that's the title of the movie, Train to Busan. At the very possible last second, a fucking zombie infected person gets on the train and then starts infecting everyone else, and so it's just a big clusterfuck of her infecting so many others. And they get this call at first, and they're like, there's a person that's in the washroom, and they're really odd or something. And you're thinking, okay, because you saw the zombie lady go into a washroom, and they're like, yeah, he's really odd. It's like, okay, well, maybe it's like a, gender non-conforming sort of maybe I just saw the girl as a he or something, But it turns out there's a girl and this, like, other homeless guy, who was weirdly, like, I don't know, like, he was just kind of always there, and he was always around. You never really find out what's the deal with him, but me and my brother, who was watching this with, were speculating that he might, like, know something about how this all started, or, like, he might be, like, an Ellie sort of thing. Oh, sorry, spoilers, The Last of Us. Where, she's like, he would be, like, immune to the infection or something, but apparently he was just some guy. He spoilers for this movie, by the way. He kind of helps them out at the end. That's basically every death in this movie is, I'm dying to save you. You keep going, You're the one who needs to keep going. So, yeah, he gets killed off near the end there, trying to protect them when they're under some, like, rubble of some trains, or, ruins of trains. Trains have, like, fallen almost on them, and there's, like, zombies trying to pour out the windows on the trains, and we've seen zombies previously break the windows on these trains to get out and stuff. And anyway, so he holds them all off as the lady and the girl, who's the daughter of the guy, go on their way, and they become the last few survivors is the dad, the woman, and the little kid there. Now this woman is another person they met early on. The dad, like, almost, like, doesn't help save her husband, and that was kind of his whole, like, arc throughout the movie, is he's very selfish and even the daughter like calls him out on this, like, hey, you're really selfish. You need to not do that. You can't like, what about these people? And he's like, we can't worry about them because like we have to worry about ourselves to make it through. And he kind of finally overcomes that at the very very end of the movie. Um, there was this guy who was an asshole the whole fucking movie. Uh, there's a part where they like, well, first of all, they like get off of the train at this one stop because they think it's safe or whatever, because the conductor guy called in and they're like, hey, the military's at this spot, and even the dad, like our main character, called this other guy, and he's like, because he's like a business guy, he knows a guy there who's apparently connected to the military, and he's like, hey, yeah, this whole city's under quarantine, you got to go the side route, but you'll make it. But just like don't go through the main way because just don't like. And then we end up seeing in the main way there's like there's like a fucking cavalcade of zombies there, the military, and the guy's like the dad's like on the phone with the guy again, and he's like, I can't get through to my men, and it's like you see them, they're all like pouring up the stairs like chasing after the survivors. They just keep picking off a couple more and stuff. And yeah, there's a bunch of tense scenes kind of like that. They're stuck in like bathrooms at one point, like these little tiny bathrooms on the train. Uh, there was like a scene where like a couple scenes where they had to like break through like a couple of cars of zombies to get to um, like the dad and the daughter get separated, and they have to like reconnect and whatever. Um, So that's tense, but they find out when they go through tunnels, like the darkness confuses the zombies or something. So like they figured out that's kind of their opening to do that. And it was kind of clever. He like pulled up the directions on his phone so you could see like where the tunnels were going to be and stuff. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. It's like, yeah, that makes sense. That's what you would do. Um, but anyway, there was this other guy who's with this pregnant lady who makes it to the end, the pregnant lady with the kid, and they're the last two, because like I said, the dad sacrifices himself or whatever. Sorry, spoilers, I said that already, but it's worth watching anyway. It's a good movie. Lots of good action in here. So anyway, her husband, the pregnant lady, is like one of the first guys to like die off, like by sacrifice or whatever. Um, there's a point when they're coming back from all of that and the zombies start chasing after them, coming back from saving the people that were stuck in the bathrooms or whatever. And they're trying to go back to like, like 5 or 6 cars back at car 9 there, where they know it's safe. But since they left, the people in the safe car are like, well, we can't trust them. We don't know. Maybe they're infected now, kind of thing. And there's this guy who's like, like seriously is like clinging to this idea, like, don't let them the fuck back in, because they might be infected. It's like, all right, reasonable enough. But the way he goes about it is such an asshole move. And later on, he just like pushes people aside, and he's really the reason at the end why all the zombies are chasing after them. But anyway, this guy, this asshole guy, ends up being the one guy at the very end who ends up biting the dad, so he's infected. So he sacrifices himself by jumping off, like, the train, has to not hurt the daughter. At first he, like, holds the guy and he's got himself, like, chained to the train or whatever, and he, like, throws the guy off, and then he comes back up. But, before that, you see him get bit on the hand by the guy, and it's like, like, what's he gonna do? It's pretty obvious he's gonna just sacrifice himself, and that's kind of gonna be the moral of the story, unless he, like, cuts off his hand or something, but, they didn't do that. So, it's a really touching, like, heartbreaking moment between him and his kid, and she's all crying, he's thinking about, like, when she was born and shit. But anyway, this pregnant lady and the girl, they make it to this tunnel at the end there. Their whole thing is they're trying to get to Busan, right? I think they got to Busan? I don't know. There's, like, this checkpoint, like, barrier with all these, like, dead people just, like, hanging out there, and, like, shit's burning and whatnot. And there's this tunnel, and then there's these two other guys on the other end of the tunnel, and one's got, like, a gun, like, trained on them. and they're walking pretty normally and whatever, but he like, the one other guy radios in, and he's like, hey, there's two people coming, but we don't know, we can't tell if they're infected or not, and they're just like, kill them, just like The Last of Us, like, just fucking do it. Break it, Pepe Le Pew, kill them, like, but, the little girl starts singing this song that she was, uh, she like sang it in this video at the beginning of the movie, and there's this whole thing like how her dad wasn't there to see her perform it, and that's why she couldn't sing the whole thing, but she ends up singing, and that's how they know that she's not infected. It's like, oh dude, that kid just saved those two's fucking lives, like they would have shot them otherwise, even though they were walking normally. Like, come on, it's two zombies, you're behind a barrier, you have a fucking powerful ass gun, you can't just wait. I mean, if they were zombies, obviously they're not zombies, but like you can't just wait for them to come closer and then shoot them. Like, what if they're survivors? And then they hear them singing, and they're like, oh my god, they're survivors, and then like a whole bunch of them come to take them in and take them to safety or whatever. But anyway, so that's a good ending. But the rest of the movie is a lot of like sacrifice and stuff. Like I was gonna say, the guy at the beginning, the dad like almost doesn't let that guy through the door. The guy that's the husband of the pregnant lady, but then he holds off as they're coming back, and he's like, just get my wife out of here, get her to safety, that kind of thing. And but as at the same time, they're trying to break back into the car that's safe because like the asshole guy is like holding them off so they can't get in there, and he like turns everybody against them as soon as they get back in there, like, like, hey, that guy's infected, and they're like, all right, everybody who just came in, you go to the back of the train. And it turns out that was a great idea that they would go to the back of the train. I thought that too. I'm like, why the fuck would they put them to the back of the train? Wouldn't they want to go to the back of the train to like have the farthest distance from the zombie, and you'd have the infected people in between? Anyway, stupid, because then the infected break through and then they eat all of the people in there, except for that guy and like a conductor guy, I guess, or like one of the train like personnel or whatever. But the train personnel and that guy like hide in this bathroom, and they make a stop. The conductor guy is like calling back. He's like, hey, like, we have to get off of this train because the path is blocked. Go to the leftmost far train or whatever, and I'll be conducting that one, and we can all make it out. Just, I hope to see you guys there. Real nice conductor guy. Well, asshole guy there and the other guy are there, and he like looks out in the hallways, and the other guy's like, is the coast clear? And he's like, yeah, fuck yeah, the coast is clear. He pushes him out and runs off like a fucking asshole, and then he does the same shit again. And up to this point, the other people, like the small elite group of other people, it's like the pregnant lady, the father, the kid, and like two other people who end up dying because of that guy anyway, before they can even get to the other train. But had that guy not done what he did, the zombies wouldn't even know that those people were running for that train. But it was his fault that zombies fucking start chasing after the other three, and then they all like, as soon as they get on the train, and he'd already gotten on the train earlier, but they didn't know that. He was the one piloting the train after he fucking like tossed the conductor aside or whatever, which was such a dick move. But anyway, this guy fucking sucks, dude. But the three of them make it on there, but then there's like zombies grabbed on the back of the train, and they're like, there's so many of them, they're like fucking slowing the train down. So it's like the dad, he like kicks, he like gets them to finally get off of there. But then when they get over there, they see it's this guy, but he's infected, but he's still talking, which is weird. So he's like almost like in an in-between state, and he's like, you gotta get me to my home, man, in Busan there or whatever. Like, here's my address and stuff. And then he turns, and so that's when the guy like throws him off, and gets bit and throws himself off and all that. But yeah, before that, it's like a lot of action on the train and stuff. It's just good. It's a good movie. Good zombie movie. Good good action there. I love zombie movies. I mean, I'd love to review some more zombie movies. I have to think of some to even start with, but there's so many movies to review. Uh, Maybe that should be my slogan thing, like so many movies to review, or something like. So I don't fucking know. Anyway, so yeah, good movie. Definitely recommended. Good, pretty good production values and whatnot. Um, Definitely just a fun watch. Good characters, good all that stuff. I would recommend. So yeah, I'm gonna give it like 8.5 out of 10, and yeah, I recommend it. It's good. Train to Busan. So, anyways, until next time, be sure to stick around and click that subscribe button to join the bad girl coven, and never forget, magic comes from the heart. Many more movies, many more Mondays. That's the James and Mike. I just steal one every time, right? So that's the James and Mike one for you. There you go. Magic comes from the heart. Finn, peace.